Xiao Yan asked the elder Tianhua if all this requires one move. If he fails, then everything will be over. After Yunsan's body was given a red pill, his body immediately moved and floated. Next, Tianhua was ordered to drink the potion. After he drank it, he immediately resonated with Yunsan's body. Luckily for the first stage, it was successful. Xiao Yan immediately combined Tianhua's soul with Yuzhen's body. After his soul entered Yuzhen's body, Xiao Yan told him that next, all this depends on Tianhua's soul. Can he withstand the fire that is so painful? But unfortunately, Xun'er immediately told him that the elders of the Ice River Valley had found their whereabouts. And now the one facing him is Xiao Yan. After the meeting, they, the leader of the Ice Snake, were immediately amazed by Xiao Yan, because his body has a poisonous body according to the rumors. If he will cause a great disaster later, if he doesn't take action now, then he will be a great threat. Then he also ordered the other 3 oldest to be outside. Don't let anyone they leave or escape. Without further ado, their fight immediately began. The Ice Snake leader also tried to use his left eye, which is the red eye or Sharingan eye. But with just a few collisions, Xiao Yan could feel the power of his ice so very strong. The snake elder laughed that he was indeed not his match. So it's useless to fight him. So he asked for today it's better to surrender and feel death so calmly, or, if he refused, then he would also die in such a miserable state. Meanwhile, also for Xiao Yan, he fought so hard in completing his task. The point is, all here is playing against time, guys. From this fight, Xiao Yan's doll alone is not his match. A few blows from his doll can't hit his body. Even just avoid it by walking, wow. When the 2 of them together to charge, the Ice Snake Elder immediately said this was useless. So with such a strong blow, they were both immediately thrown. As a result of all that also made the feet of the Xiao Yan immediately freeze. And also for the Xiao Yan doll, it was immediately thrown away. As a result, the Xiao Yan had to fight hard to withstand some of his attacks, ouch. Unfortunately, he also couldn't withstand all the attacks driven by the Ice Snake Elder. The Xiao Yan received repeated attacks and was quite seriously injured. And also his body was immediately frozen. This made the Xiao Yan have to force himself to release his poisonous body again. And he apologized to Xiao Yan if he had to use it again, so that the purple dye energy immediately came out. But this was what he wanted. Unfortunately, he also wouldn't let the poisonous body run rampant. He immediately warded it off, while giving a warning and an attractive offer as long as he returned to the Ice River Valley. Then he would have a chance to live, and also to recover. But if he refuses, then he will be finished. But there is a tearing of the vacuum behind, which is where the elder Tianhua has succeeded in taking over Yuzhen's body. That means merging his body really went smoothly. Looks cool, guys, and also Tianhua immediately tried to provoke him. Because the 4 of them in front of him will not be allowed to leave here. Because he treated the zodiac sign badly, then they also have to accept the consequences. Then for the snake elder became afraid, by telling that all this was a misunderstanding, so asked for forgiveness. But unfortunately for Tian, who did not care so much, and he immediately showed his strength, and where the vacuum tear came out again, making him mentally ill. So the snake elder asked the 3 of them to form a blood sacrifice formation, so that a very large ice snake came out, but with just one wave of the hand the vacuum opened. And the attack from the ice snake immediately disappeared, guys, and also with just one grip the ice snake immediately disappeared. Feeling that he would never be able to win this fight, the Ice Snake Elder asked them to run away. Unfortunately, Xiao Yan and Tianhua did not let anyone leave here. And with just one flick of the finger, the vacuum created by the Ice Snake Elder was immediately destroyed. So cruelly the Ice Snake Elder immediately left the 3 elders, which made the 3 of them perish immediately. But for himself he managed to escape. Seeing that Xiao Yan immediately shook his head, it turned out that the Ice Snake Elder's heart was really so cruel. And also Tianhua told him that if he wanted to have received such a heavy injury, he would definitely never be able to recover his fighting spirit in such a short time. And Xiao Yan didn't really mind the most important thing for the Ice River Valley for a while. It wouldn't be able to bother them, because then they would help Xiao Yan for a long time to control his poisonous body. If his poisonous body was successfully controlled, the Ice River Valley would definitely not dare to touch them all. And Xun'er offered her place to do purification in controlling Xiao Yan's poisonous body, and she would convince her family to help the 3 of them. Meanwhile, at Xun'er's family's place, they also came from Choi, he who brought a coffin to them, where he was assigned to lead his Blackfire sect to invite cooperation, but they seemed to refuse. As a result, one of the oldest there was immediately knocked down, seeing that all the elders wanted to attack him. Luckily, Elder Yi immediately stopped him, because for this Choi he was at the peak of 6 stars. And no one in the Yi clan could match him. So Choi He's request to the Yi family, namely hand over the tiger altar and leave Yi city right now. Otherwise all members of the Yi family will not be left in this city. Then Xiao Yan's voice was heard asking Choi He to bring his coffin and get out of this city. If not, then he will be the one who will be put in the coffin. Then Choi He, who did not know Xiao Yan's figure at all, he tried to underestimate him, and ordered his subordinates to kill Xiao Yan guys. So Xiao Yan asked Elder Tianhua to show his abilities. With just one flick the vacuum opened again, making them all immediately afraid. As a result, Choi He, who was so arrogant, immediately prostrated himself to them, and he begged for forgiveness for his life. But Tianhua immediately told him that the matter of life or death depended on Xiao Yan's decision. Luckily, Xiao Yan was still kind enough to tell him to leave here while carrying his coffin. If he came back again, then his Blackfire sect would be destroyed. After they left, all the elders who were there became so very surprised and asked about Xiao Yan's background, because he was surrounded by such strong people. Now Tianhua was in the realm of Dozun, and Xun'er told his grandfather. From the beginning he had told him that Xiao Yan would definitely be able to save their family. So he asked his grandfather to believe in all the plans he did. Then Grandpa finally believed what Xun'er said. And he apologized to Xiao Yan what happened before, and also he begged Xiao Yan to help the Wei family in overcoming all their problems. Xiao Yan promised to help him, but before that he wanted to borrow the ancient fire altar belonging to their family. But there was one of the oldest there who immediately refused. Because the ancient fire altar is a forbidden place for their family. If there are outsiders at all, they are not allowed to enter. Suddenly, for his grandfather Xun'er, he immediately said, "What kind of rules are those? It's better to abolish those rules." So that access for Xiao Yan also got access to enter the ancient fire altar. Then Xiao Yan was taken to the ancient fire altar, while for the snake elder, he managed to return, but he didn't expect that Xiao Yan had such strong people behind him. He became so very curious and became so very vengeful towards all of them. Welcome to episode 113. Xun'er, who found the latest information about the whereabouts of Zhou Lo, and also the whereabouts of Xiao Yan, who was already in the city of Wei Chung, or the Wei family. There she was going to save her friend from a poisonous body, but she was currently facing problems with the Valley of the Ice River plus lately. The Hall of Souls began to move to search for Xiao Yan's whereabouts because they had a grudge against Xiao Yan. Hearing that, Xun'er would not let anything happen to Xiao Yan, and he asked his 2 leaders to take him to where the city of Wei Chung was located, and he would meet Xiao Yan. On the other hand, Xiao Yan was being taken by Chairman Wei to the right of the ancient altar of Yanhua. But for now he felt that the Yanhua ancient altar was experiencing some problems. For now, fire rarely appeared there, so they were already in front of the ancient altar. The 3 of them went straight to the center of the ancient altar. Then Xiao Yan asked Elder Ti Ho to protect the 2 of them and asked that no one should interfere with their plans. Meanwhile, in the Ice Valley, the leader of the Sky Snake immediately ran away, questioning why he could fail to bring the poisonous body. Then he told him that there was someone from the realm of Duzun, and they were not his match at all. Even though he was only a 1-star Dozu, he was completely unable to deal with it, hearing that the Valley Master immediately attacked him and asked him if he knew where they were going. Unfortunately, the Sky Snake Elder did not know at all. As a result, he was so annoyed that he tried to kill him, but suddenly they had a guest who had invited, and the guest came from the Soul Hall. He was also very surprised because the visitor was such a rare person, and for this Soul Hall to tell him that he knew where they were going. Because one of them was the target of his Soul Palace, so his arrival here is to invite you to join. Then all his wishes will come true. And they both immediately agreed. Binghe's request was only to bring the poisoned body. The rest would be handed over to him. Hearing that, the party from the Soul Hall or Wu Protector immediately laughed, because this was a very profitable opportunity. Then we returned to Xiao Yan and also Xiao Yan, where they both will perform a ritual in controlling the poisonous body. Here Xiao Yan seemed restless and worried because this ritual would really be very painful. He had to endure as much as possible, and Xiao Yan only answered, "Go ahead," because he really trusts Xiao Yan. And Xiao Yan immediately started by pulling the poisoned body from Xiao Yan, so that his body immediately changed and emitted a purple aura. In several stages, it was seen that he began to succeed in controlling the poisonous body of Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan said this was the last step. All of this depended on him, because he had to be able to compress the poison, or concentrate all the poison into one point. So Xiao Yan did it immediately. Even though he felt such excruciating pain, but he managed to endure it. Until he screamed and almost lost consciousness. Xiao Yan was so worried. If this failed, then everything would be over too. But suddenly Xiao Yan immediately got back up and moved his hands, in concentrating the poison. It was really crazy. Struggle, seeing that Xiao Yan tries to balance it by giving him some poison pills too. After finishing this last stage, it all depends on Xiao Yan. As long as he can be aware and also control it, then he will win from his poisonous body. But it seems to be seen from the expression on his face, Xiao Yan could not hold all this anymore. And he experienced dizziness and almost unconscious. Xiao Yan looked so restless and tried to call his name continuously. Fortunately, the ancient altar immediately emitted a light that made the body of Xiao Yan was successfully saved. That's why they entered the ancient altar of Yanhua. The main purpose is to be on guard. If the body of Xiao Yan can't control all of this, guys, after feeling so good, Xiao Yan regained consciousness and immediately reabsorbed it again, for Xiao Yan to finally be able to breathe so easily. He also thanked the ancient altar of Yanhua, especially with the 4 pillars of fire that were here. Xiao Yan accidentally got a body seed. This made him look so surprised. Because for this one body seed, it can be used to feel the body's heart, and he decided to keep it. Then Xiao Yan also became so confused, even though below them there was a very strong fire core. But why was there no more fire coming out of the earth's core? Then, because he was curious, he immediately checked it using his eyes. When he looked down at the fire, he saw that there was a pearl of the earth's heart there. This also made him remember the words of his teacher. If this earth heart pearl is a type of energy pearl that has been formed by the essence of the earth, after many years, where the pearl can also be used again in refining class 8 ammunition, even up to class 9. But previously Xiao Yan thought his teacher's words were just a fairy tale. But after seeing it now he believes, so it's no wonder that the fire here doesn't come out, because the fire has been absorbed by the earth heart pearl. So Xiao Yan has an idea that he will take it out. Meanwhile, in the city of Yi, or the city of night, they have come from the valley of the ice river. All the residents there are so scared. Back to Xiaoma Yan, he tries to pull the earth heart pearl. But for the first movement he has failed completely, because the pearl actually absorbs his fire. But Xiao Yan never gives up and tries to do it again, and he manages to pull it out, so that 3 pillars of fire are visible. After succeeding, Xiao Yan tries to save it. And there was a vibration and so strong that he felt something strange out there. Back to the Ice River Valley troops, they immediately asked his family why. The girl who has a poisonous body, if they don't want anything, as a result the Yi family, who is no match for them, becomes very nervous. And also for some of the oldest who don't know the whereabouts of Xiao Yan, they question since when did his Yi family get a woman with a poisonous body, for Xi and Lin didn't dare to answer at all. But the chairman Du Zhu told them that they don't need to worry about all this, because they will not attack the Yi family, but they are looking for the whereabouts of Xiao Yan and others. Then Xiao and also the chairman Teo immediately faced them, and the chairman of the Ice Sky Snake became very scared. When seeing the figure of the 2 beside him, asked Tianhua not to interfere in this matter. Then the Ice River Valley will respect all of this. Again the same words over and over again, yes. And as usual the answer from Tianhua, he refused it, so that inevitably the leader had to fight with Elder Tianhua. As for Xiao Yan himself, he will face the leader of the Sky Snake. Coincidentally, he also has a grudge against Xiao Yan. But his actions were immediately stopped by Protector Wu, by telling him that this Xiao Yan figure is his, and he should not interfere. While for Xiao Yan, seeing that it came from the Hall of Souls, he became so angry, and he immediately drew his sword, which made the fight happen immediately. Here Xiao Yan can't control his emotions, guys, and the Xiao doll has to fight against the Elder of the Sky Snake. In the fight, Xiao Yan was also continuously underestimated, if he could become stronger because of help from outsiders. If only without the help of outsiders he wouldn't be like this. Xiao Yan only replied that he could be defeated by himself. And Xiao immediately released 3 heavenly fire transformations, which are equivalent to 3-star Dozu guys. The technique of expelling 5 fire rings that he released formed the first pillar, namely, the form of a fire wolf. A few minutes later, then the avatar of the fire lion appeared. The avatar of the fire tiger and the avatar of the fire dragon were born like a new life. The sudden change was finally able to create a technique of expelling 5 fire rings that were truly surprising. Even Tian, who as its creator felt very proud to have passed down the legacy, to Xiao the power has fallen to the most appropriate person. The way these river valley people do things is truly despicable, to the point of justifying all kinds of ways to oppress him younger. Tian Swam said, "The winner will be king while the loser will be the loser. The Ice River Valley doesn't care what you say, they only care about the end result." Although Tian Si and his 2 subordinates had begun to tremble seeing the power of the 5 changes, the ring of fire that circled in front of Xiao, they were still determined to release their formation attack. Producing a burst of explosion, the red 5-ring fire pillar was shot, and according to the predicted results, Tian Si and the other 2 people were trapped in the fire curtain released by him. The 2 Dosong experts began to panic, because the fire affinity energy formed in the 5-ring formation was very wild and filled with violence. Even all of their doki were immediately locked. The 2 elders who were on the side began to be afraid, when they saw the valley of fire pillars covering the entire space around them. But unlike Tian Si said, "What makes you panic? This kid does have a formation, but we also have it. Once the formation of the Sun S is formed, the power of the kid's explosion will not last long. Moreover, reaching the time limit of the 3 changes of the heavenly fire that he has is up, then the formation he formed will naturally fall apart. That's when we can kill him," listening to that Bing San and Bing who are actually still quite hesitant. But they could only listen to his orders. The 5 pillars of the fire ring that had just made contact with the surface of the ice mirror began to rub together, forming a spark explosion with each other, under the pressure of the 5 pillars of fire released by Xiola Yen. The ice mirror layer began to melt slowly, and it was clear that if it continued, their doki would be drained until it dried up. Tian Si racked his brains to think of a way out because the only way was to move all the power into his body. When the mirror layer broke later, I would use an absolute attack and kill the boy in one attack. And it was true that the worst possibilities that had been thought of earlier began to appear one by one. Small to large flattening, slowly destroying their defensive walls. Truly a very, very terrifying sea of fire. Even the combined strength of the 3 elders of the river valley was unable to block it. The gazes of all the people in Yi City were quite amazed by Xiao Yan's abilities, but because the 3 of them had planned something, the power of Sun S was formed previously united and merged directly into Tian Si's body. The pale cold air emitted a wave whose temperature suddenly increased significantly. The easily destroyed crack part was isolated again, and covered by a wave of white mist containing a terrifying cold temperature, successfully erasing more than half of the fire formation that circled above them. Tian Si said this kid is going to end, arranged with the second technique that wants to pull his right arm and form a giant S-God bow. Xiao Yan looked at the sudden surprise attack from a distance. This Tian Si is indeed worthy of being a peak Dosong class expert. He is very difficult to kill. The air in the destroyer immediately jumped when the giant arrow was released. Xiao Yan moved his feet backwards. He waved his hand to form a fire god arm where his power was called the World Destroyer. When the fire god collided with the giant arrow, the destructive power, like the sound of meteorites, caused noise by shaking the horizon. Tian Si shouted loudly while enduring the attack. Even the freezing of his power had entered the most extreme stage. The crack slowly sounded again on the far side. Xiao Yan also clenched his teeth tightly if he failed to defeat the 3 of them, and the time limit of the 3rd form of the heavenly fire change was up. Then let alone Tian Si, the 2 Donsong elders beside him could easily kill me. Xiao Yan again gathered all his remaining doki energy into one arm of the god of fire that was released. Slamming into the cold fog mirror where it was at the bottom, the collision made a very, very loud sound. The energy was seen spreading, causing the 5-ring fire expulsion skill to ring and vibrate again. But clearly the power released by Xiao Yan slowly began to weaken. Tian Si laughed happily when he was able to feel it. He immediately tapped his stick right in front. As a peak Dosong class expert, of course, his doki energy was much more dominant compared to what Xiao Yan had. But right after he wanted to take a move to attack, suddenly Xiao Yan disappeared from the collision of his ice arrow power, and suddenly appeared in front of him carrying a deadly power. Namely the 3-colored fire lotus. Tian Si was so shocked that he was completely off guard to face Xiao Yan. The 3-colored fire lotus shot straight towards his body. The fierce explosion once again shook the battle area, even with the eruption of the fire lotus. Both Bing Swan elders were successfully knocked down, while Tian Si was thrown hard to the ground. But it seemed that he was still holding on, but his body was covered in blood. The shocking attack almost took his life. Even his condition now was much worse compared to Wu's protector, Wu Ying. He was getting more and more scared. The young man he had beaten up in the Yulan sect yesterday had actually become a dangerous person. Therefore, he didn't think twice about using the opportunity to escape. But just as his steps were about to move, a special space suddenly opened up behind him. Xiao Yan appeared holding his shoulder with the power of heavenly fire and asserted, "I will not hesitate to turn you into dust. If you dare to move again, the effect of the third form of heavenly fire transformation released by him has also reached its limit." Xiao Yan used the power of suction to strangle Wu's neck and let out all the complaints in his heart by saying, "In the past, did you ever imagine that you would end up in a situation like this?" Wu Ying was completely helpless in front of Xiao Yan, but he warned that if you kill me, then the Soul Palace will not let you survive in the Central Plains region. You should be aware that my palace is not a force that can be compared and equated, like the river valley. Xiao Yan laughed cruelly before finally he flowed the essence of heavenly fire to burn his spiritual soul from the inside. The torture was really very painful. A sharp scream made him scream in pain. Xiao Yan asked if it was very painful and the suffering felt by my master in your palace. The possibility is much greater than this. That's why I will make you feel it until your soul completely disappears. But right after saying that, suddenly the sound of applause suddenly echoed above the sky, and it turned out to be Tian Tuanxi. Tian said, "It was really unexpected that I had miscalculated. Your ability to defeat the Tian SI group only relied on the strength of Dongsong level 2. Really exceeded my expectations, but unfortunately our S Valley will not make a mistake a second time." Tianhua, who was in front, then straightened up. "No need to use words as if you want to scare someone." Tianhua tried to convince Xiao Yan that the old man would never touch him as long as he was still there. But after saying that, suddenly a voice echoed again where, whoever he was from, where he came from, but his strength was in the realm of Dosong. The person who came this time was not from the river valley, but rather an expert sent directly by the Soul Palace. His strength was much greater than Tianswang. Not long after, a thick black fog appeared where he was King Haisusi. Tiangsu immediately made a double-handed salute saying, "Elder King Hai, quickly catch that brat. He is the person targeted by the hall leader." Xiao Yan began to feel the terrifying power coming from the subordinates of the Soul Palace who came this time, so he hurriedly took out a jade bottle from his storage ring. Immediately forced Wu Ying to enter it. The change of situation was completely unexpected. King Hai turned his gaze and said, "You are Xiao Yan? It is really unexpected that you dared to show yourself even though you have become an important target of the Soul Palace. This courage is worthy of recognition. Let go of that person and come with me to the Soul Palace." Tianhua wanted to move to Xiao Yan's side, but Tiangsu again and again blocked all his paths. King Hai then said, "To Tiangsu, I have to trouble you to hold that person for a while, but I will come back to help you after catching this brat." The crazy words spoken made Tianhua feel that something bad was about to happen, and the spatial space was suddenly pulled. And suddenly a hand of darkness appeared, which immediately locked Xiao Yan's body. King Hai asserted, "Boy, everything that my Soul Palace wants must be obtained." But just when King Hai's giant hand was about to tear Xiao Yan's head, and a woman dressed in white and purple appeared, asserting, "If you dare to hurt her, then you will die." And yes, that's right, it was the resurrection of Xiao Yan who had succeeded in breaking through the Dusun realm after controlling his poison body. Grow increasingly cold as she said, "Who are you?" "This is a matter concerning my river valley, and I want that poison-bodied woman. Even if she is your friend, I will not let her go today." Lin Shusi didn't care much for Xiao Yan, but King Hai had his sights set on him. Therefore, he pleaded with Lin Shusi not to let them escape. Lin Shusi replied, "If you want her, go capture her yourself." Xun'er raised her chin, asserting, "You two don't need to argue. Today, no one will leave here, not even one of you. If you are wise, take your people and leave Yi City within 1 minute, and I will allow you to depart safely." Xun'er's words filled Lin Shusi with anger. It was truly arrogant of her. Her presence today represented a very well-known faction in the Central Plains, the Soul Hand. There were hardly any factions capable of competing with them. What could make her afraid? Ling Hai, a subordinate of the Soul Palace, laughed openly at Xun'er's words. However, what would Xun'er's response be? "What you say might seem impressive if it were spoken by your leader, but you have no qualifications at all." With 30 seconds left, Lin Xusi and Linghai only laughed. "In all these years, this is the first time I've met such an arrogant young generation like you." Xun'er ordered her subordinates to take care of them, and when faced with the situation, they said, "I have long heard that the leader of River Valley has trained the sun ice power to its peak. Today, I want to test it directly." On the other hand, she didn't like waiting for others' responses, so she declared, "I will end you soon." As the two Yuan moved forward, ready to fight to the bitter end to attack and kill Xiao Yan, it seemed a bit impossible. Although the battle had its opponents, Xiao Yan still had two remaining Du Sun experts alongside Xun'er. Their members surrounded Xiao Yan's group from all directions. Just as they were contemplating this, Xun'er stepped forward, raising one palm and unleashing a golden energy that curved and soared into the sky. The sight left Xiao Yan truly astonished. He never expected the power released by Xun'er to be heavenly fire energy. When the golden fire erupted, even the heavenly heart fire energy within Xiao Yan's body surged, as if under an unusual pressure, making him wonder what kind of heavenly fire Xun'er controlled. Among the 10 types of heavenly fire ranks, the golden color represented 2 kinds. The 9 golden ancestor flames ranked 7th, and the golden emperor burning heavenly fire ranked 4th. Xun'er quickly unleashed her power, crushing the ice barrier above her, causing all life energy within Lin Xusi and her members to be shattered. Their dogi were incapacitated, and with a loud explosion, they were all annihilated without a trace. After defeating them, Xiao Yan was genuinely impressed. He didn't expect Xun'er to advance so far ahead of him. Her power had grown over time. Xun'er said, "You should not speak such words. I am merely benefiting from my ancestral lineage, but the power within you is the result of your hard work and effort. Even if compared to 10 of me, I still wouldn't match you." The cold dogi formations, which the River Valley prided themselves on, were destroyed in a single strike, leaving Xiao Yan in disbelief. Was this the true power of an ancient clan? They were indeed terrifying. It seems that Xun'er's warning does have a strong reason from the attitude of the elders to honor him. It seems that his position in the ancient clan is very high. Xiao Yan pondered for a long time. Therefore, if he did not have the strength to convince them, then it seems that everything would end in nonsense. Xiao Yan decided to find the new heavenly fire as soon as possible, especially since it was less than a year until the event at the clan tower was held. During that time, he had to get the best opportunity to increase his strength. Meanwhile, when the fight broke out in front of them, the two Lins actually formed a divine hand seal called the Burial of the Sky, and even shot straight towards Lin Xusi with that deadly skill technique. Lin Xusi as an experienced Du Sun expert. How could he not know that the technique came from a member of the ancient clan? After knowing that it turned out that the one he was fighting was an expert who was behind an ancient clan that rarely stood out in the Central Plains, but whose reputation who doesn't know them. Lin Xusi's gaze became gloomy as he stared at the green-clothed woman from a distance, and on that occasion, except for this which had formed the palm of the god seal, immediately released it to hit Lin Xusi. Trying to focus his eyes back, he immediately formed a river-power defense shield called the Frozen Sky Palm. Pitch-black energy immediately clashed with each other, producing an extraordinary collision shaking. With fire rubbing against each other, both of them each retreated back, but from the looks of their fight, Lin Xusi had equal strength. Xun'er shouted from a distance to ask Du Sun to don't waste time, because this trip must be completed immediately. However, when he wanted to launch an attack again, Lin Xusi suddenly said from a distance, "Wait a moment," and ordered King Hai to immediately stop all forms of fighting. Lin Xusi was forced. "I said I don't know what kind of background you have, but offending the Soul Palace is the most stupid action in your life. However, Xun'er is there, he will not be able to escape anywhere." Then Linghai's soul was put into a jade bottle from his storage ring. "He will not bother you either." Lin Xusi was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, the young man did not have a long-lasting grudge nature. Because of that, he told Xun'er, "I will take care of a mess that happened in Y City on the other hand. I hope young miss does not take it as a grudge, even to the point of affecting our vaccine relationship afterwards." Xun'er asserted, "I also hope today's matter and happen for the second time otherwise. The next place to visit will be your ice valley." After saying that, Lin Shusi immediately quickly left the fighting arena, leaving Ling Hai alone. After the battle, Xun'er and her two elders stayed at Xiao Yan's residence in Y City. Xun'er asked, "What are your plans next, Brother Xiao Yan?" Xiao Yan's goal was to save his teacher, who had been imprisoned in the Hall of Souls. Isn't Xiao Yan's teacher the Venerable Yao Qin? Xun'er knew a lot about Xiao Yan. The elders only just found out that Xiao Yan was a disciple of Yao Qin, the renowned Venerable Yao, a master of alchemy. They mentioned that few in the Doqi continent could match him, and they had met Yao Qin a few times. They were surprised to learn that Yao Qin had been imprisoned in the Hall of Souls. Xun'er said, "Based on your current abilities, Brother Xiao Yan, even with the help of these two dozuns, it will be difficult to rescue Master Yao Lao Qin from the Hall of Souls. Don't rush into it." Xiao Yan replied, "Don't worry, I won't be thinking about seeking the Hall of Souls anytime soon." Suddenly, Xun'er asked, "Have you heard any news about Uncle Xiao?" This reminded Xiao Yan of his missing father, from whom he hadn't received any news. Xun'er felt sorry and offered to use the Gu clan's power to search for Uncle Xiao's whereabouts, promising to inform Xiao Yan if they found anything. Xiao Yan needed strength to save both his teacher and his father. He had to obtain the 3,000 burning flame. On the other side, within the ancient clan, Commander Lin Quan was ordered by the elders to bring Xun'er back to the ancient clan. Lin Quan, who seemed displeased with the Xiao family, even warned Xiao Yan to stay away from Xun'er. He seemed very angry, as Xiao Yan had ignored his previous words. While Xiao Yan was recuperating in his room, he sensed Xun'er secretly visiting him. Xun'er asked, "It's already late. Why aren't you resting?" She then took out an item, the third seal of the Emperor's Seal technique. "Based on your current strength, Brother Xiao Yan, you should be able to train with this third seal. Brother Xiao Yan, don't refuse. There are many masters in Zhongzhou. Having more life-saving tricks will make things much safer." Xiao Yan thanked Xun'er and stored it in his storage ring. Xun'er also set up protective measures around his room to ensure no one would detect Xiao Yan's presence. Xun'er then asked, "Do you have the ancient Tuasha Emperor Jade with you?" Xiao Yan replied, "Does the Gu clan also want the ancient Tuasha Emperor Jade?" Xun'er explained that since ancient times, few masters had ever broken into the Dodi realm. The ancient Tuasha Emperor was the last Dodi to appear on the Doqi continent, and he left behind a residence. The ancient Tuasha Emperor Jade is the key to opening that residence. It turns out both the Gu clan and the Hall of Souls are searching for the ancient Tuasha Emperor Jade everywhere. Xiao Yan wondered if the Hall of Souls had captured his father because of this reason. Xun'er explained that the Xiao family was once a great faction on the Doqi continent, and Xiao Yan's ancestors were incredible geniuses. Within a few hundred years, they were ranked among the top. The Xiao family had a good relationship with the Gu clan, and when the ancestor passed away, they made an agreement for the Gu clan to protect the Xiao family during critical times. However, the Xiao family had to leave Zhongzhou and finally settled in the Jiama Empire. Xiao Yan asked, "What was the name of the Xiao family ancestor back then?" Xun'er answered, "Xiao Xian." The ancestor of the Xiao family was truly different. Suddenly, someone appeared at Xiao Yan's door. Who was it? It turned out to be the elders who were eavesdropping on Xiao Yan and Xun'er's conversation. Xun'er immediately confronted them. "What are you doing here? It's already late, young lady. You should go back and rest." Meanwhile, Xiao Yan was still contemplating his strength. For his family, his clan, and others, everything needed to be protected with power. His master had once told him that in this world, power reigns supreme. Without power, you cannot protect anyone. Xiao Yan resumed restoring his strength, focusing on the devil poison spots. Based on his body's strength, he could also store the massive Do Qi contained within them. With great determination, Xiao Yan began. Elsewhere, two young women were playing chess while chatting about Xiao Yan. Xun'er said, "I may need to trouble you to look after Brother Xiao Yan while he's back in the ancient clan." The poison lady happily agreed to protect him as long as she lived. Then the Lin Quan group from the ancient clan arrived. The elders intercepted them, asking, "What are you doing here?" Lin Quan said, "My father instructed me to bring Xun'er back because he's worried she might get hurt outside." The elders replied, "We will protect the young lady. Do you really think it takes the strength of a 5-star dozong to protect her?" Lin Quan said, "I didn't mean it that way. I'm simply following my father's orders, so I can't disobey him, right?" Xun'er then came out and said, "Wait 2 more days, then I'll return." "I'm sorry, young lady, but I must take you back now. Besides, Is the young master Xiao Yan of the Xiao family here? May I meet him? This time, I have another important message from the chief. If I meet the Xiao family, I must invite them to the Gu clan. Did Lin Quan bring the ancient jade plaque? Xun'er and the two elders were shocked. Xiao Yan came out to greet Lin Quan. But Lin Quan rudely said, I didn't expect the fallen Xiao family to have another Dozong master. Xiao Yan calmly replied, this could happen. When we met back then, I was just a Do Ling. But after a few years, it might be hard to tell who's stronger. Lin Quan retorted, to me, you're not much different from back then. Xiao Yan responded, yet now you're a nobody. Lin Quan grew furious. Suddenly, the poison lady came out to protect Xiao Yan. Lin Quan taunted Xiao Yan, saying, if your ancestors knew about this, they wouldn't rest in peace, knowing you're hiding behind a woman for protection. The argument between Lin Quan and Xiao Yan heated up. Xun'er gave Xiao Yan permission to act. Commander Lin Quan, do you want to fight alone or in a group? The battle between them began. The fight was relaxed for Xiao Yan, but Lin Quan was filled with rage, determined to capture him. When Lin Quan tried to unleash his seal, Xiao Yan moved first, striking him from behind and causing him to fall. His do qi was weak. You're much weaker than I thought. I'll rate this performance as very weak. The elders remarked that Lin Quan had humiliated himself this time, and he deserved it. Lin Quan, enraged, used blood-melting techniques, disregarding his own life. He even employed self-harming secret techniques like that. Xiao Yan calmly remarked, that secret technique is impressive, but you lack a strong enough foundation. That power is useless. Despite Lin Quan's arrogant moves, in the end, he was easily defeated by a single punch and throw from Xiao Yan. Xun'er then bid farewell to return to the ancient clan. Xiao Yan said, I'll come to the Gu clan after attending the Pill conference and saving my master. Then I'll come to find you. Xiao Yan is deep in thought, wondering why he must protect the Wei family. Meanwhile, the elders residing in Danta must first pass the tests from the 5 major families in Danta. However, outsiders cannot participate in these tests, and Xiao Yan is not part of the Danta family. So, does Xiao Yan have to become the prospective son-in-law of the Wei family first? This leaves his friends surprised. Elder Wei explains that this is only temporary. As long as their position can be reserved again, the Wei family will have enough time to grow. Xiao Yan thinks this is a bad idea because he is just one of them. There's nothing wrong with being a grown man. How will Xinlan perceive people like this in the future? Xinlan, reflecting on Xiao Yan's words, asks, what is the meaning of Xinlan's personal reputation? In relation to the life and death of the Wei family? Xinlan then begs Xiao Yan to help the Wei family escape disaster. The venomous woman says, don't you know Xiao Yan's temperament? Once he promises you something, he naturally won't let go or ignore you. This only makes him more impatient. Brother Xiao Yan, don't worry, this is just a formality. In the future, Xiao Yan is destined to become a top figure on the Do Qi continent. Xiao Yan understands and simply follows Elder Wei Zhong's rules. A subordinate reports that someone from the Chao family has arrived again to say that he wants to have an affair with Miss Xun'er. Old Chao's arrival raises questions about his marriage with Xun'er, asking, do you think you're looking down on me? If the Chao family fails, Elder Zhong responds, how could this marriage be taken lightly? He hopes Mr. Chao will reconsider. What should be considered? Marrying Xun'er to Mr. Chao obediently, and then the Chao family can still assist you. If not, Chao will withdraw from the 5 great families in the realm. Is this annexation assistance fake or real? Mr. Chao, furious, wants to harm the Xun'er family, but suddenly Xiao Yan appears and asks, is this how the Chao family behaves when a marriage proposal fails, by wanting to hurt people? Chao thinks, it turns out there are indeed 2 Dozuns here, making the Wei family suddenly so tough. Chao asks, you're Xiao Yan, the one who came to Yecheng to stir up trouble some time ago, right? He continues, so who are you? I'm a 7th-tier alchemist, Chao. The debate between Xiao and Chao becomes increasingly challenging, pushing towards a fight. Chao arrogantly claims that his Chao family is no match for the Glacier River Valley, which Xiao had defeated, but beside you, there are 2 Dozuns. And if you don't interfere in this matter today, you can come to the Chao family if you ever need our medicine. But it turns out Xiao Yan is an alchemy expert and knows the basics. Chao laughs arrogantly at Xiao, saying, oh, so the Wei family is betting on you for this assessment? Suddenly, Mr. Chao wants to compete with Xiao. If he loses, the marriage will be off, but if he wins, Xiao must stop meddling in this matter. Chao, eager to play with fire, taunts, But if you're not brave enough, just admit defeat. Xiao calmly replies, if you like, I'll accompany you to play. Xiao, driven by ambition to see the Wei family's hopes crushed, begins the fire competition. Xiao possesses the Tianyin demon flame, taken from the body of an 8th-level magical beast, the 3-headed Tianyin lion. Still arrogant, he says, if you only have ordinary flames, don't embarrass yourself. Xiao immediately unleashes an unusual flame, shocking everyone. Xiao exclaims, of course, different flames have incredible power. If this continues, my Tianyin demon flame will be unmatched. So, Xiao unleashes his second flame to counter Xiao's. The Dozuns worry Xiao will be torn apart by the 2 flames. Xiao arrogantly says, if there are 2 types, then there are 4 types. Playing with fire is not only about quality and quantity, it's also crucial. Should you keep them? Xiao, provoked, unleashes several of his own flames. Xiao and his followers are terrified to see that Xiao has an immensely powerful soul energy. Xiao remarks, if you want to play with fire against me, you're not worthy. Xiao is swiftly defeated by Xiao Yan and leaves the Wei family, but not before warning Elder Zhong that he won't stop here, frightening Elder Zhong, who fears the witch from the Qiao family will return. A girl, who became an official witch at the age of 7, is also a highly favored alchemist and a core disciple of the Qiao Pagoda. Could this witch become a formidable rival for Xiao Yan? As Xiao Yan heads to the temple, more and more people gather. Xiao Yan has emerged from refining his strength, radiating powerful soul energy. The Dozun mentions that the soul realm is divided into 2 levels, mortal emperor and heavenly emperor. But now they're lost. If not, you could use them to accelerate the development of your soul. Xiao and the Wei family have arrived at the Alchemy domain. Elder Zhong explains that the Alchemy domain is divided into outer and inner domains. Elder Zhong asks for Xiao Yan's help to obtain a certified alchemist badge from the Qiao Pagoda, as the badge level is crucial to participating in the inner society. Elder Zhong and Xiao enter the Qiao family's territory. However, the Bai family mocks their arrival, claiming that Elder Zhong has no one to support him. Xiao Yan calmly listens to their words. He's still very young and a 4th-tier alchemist, and they laugh at him, even attacking him, but the Qiao Pagoda intervenes. Han Li, responsible for this assessment, activates the teleportation array, and each participant selects a spot according to their level. Xiao Yan asks if there is a limit to the highest level test here. The intermediate 7th tier is Zhao's limit in this test. Han Lin guides him to where the 7th tier participants are located. The Wei family has made significant progress in sensationalism. Elder Zhong says, I hope you'll be able to laugh later. The 6th tier intermediate participants from the Qiu family pass the test, while the Bai family fails to pass. However, the Bai family successfully continues their 6th tier test, arrogantly stating, in terms of talent, it depends on my Bai family's lineage. When the Wei family is expelled from the 5 great families, I Bai will comfort you well. Finally, Xiao Yan and Han Lin emerge, stunning Elder Bai, who is shocked and afraid. It's the highest level intermediate tier. Hearing Han Lin's words about Xiao Yan's power, Elder Bai apologizes for the trouble and directs Xiao to the Danta headquarters for further tests. Furious with his 2 children, Elder Bai scolds them, calling them failures. Xiao Yan immediately beats Elder Bai. An old man with no manners? Now is the time to reflect on it.
Chair. So, how will Xiao Yan face the next 5 big families test? Let's see guys. After finishing the test, Xiao Yan and the Yi family walked in a market. There were some residents there who saw the star or intermediate level 7 alchemist Xiao Yan, and thought which family was this young man from? Why have they never seen him here? But he was with an old man who looked like someone from the Yi family. Is the news that the Yi family had just accepted a son-in-law true? Suddenly Xiao Yan said that the trade fair in Xingdi City was indeed very crowded, but the medicines here looked very ordinary. Xiao Yan asked, are there any other medicines that can be seen again? Then Princess Xen Lin replied that if you want to find some precious herbs, you have to go there, namely the alchemist trade. But only a few alchemists are qualified to participate, while Xen Lin can't accompany her because she wants to find out if there is a chance to get something good here. Suddenly there is a fortune-telling horse carriage that has come out, shocking the residents there. They all think who has held such a big event? The old man thought maybe in the carriage there are people from the D family who are taking part in the exam and the potion meeting? Xiao Yan immediately saw what was inside the carriage with the power of his eyes. Suddenly Xiao Yan asked if the D family has someone who can compare to Qiao Ying from the Qiao family? The old man replied that in the big family pill and the D family are actually rather humble, but their strength is unexpected. It's just that, the old man doesn't know why they suddenly come to hold a big event today. Xiao Yan and the Yi family continue their journey. There is a beautiful young girl sitting in the carriage with a young man. The young man thought who was the intermediate level 7 alchemist? Did Xun'er feel pressure? So who is Xun'er, guys? Okay, it seems they are calm because level 7 can only be considered as one of the participants that can be considered in this competition. But it seems they are afraid of the witch woman from the Xiao family, so Xun'er must really prepare well. On the other hand, Xiao Yan's group has arrived and was greeted by the guard Duzo there. Some honored guests were allowed to enter. Inside there were already many people who wanted to see the valuable potions, bargaining and asking according to their wishes. Xiao Yan was confused, so the guard offered to help find one or two, but Xiao Yan needed 3 types of medicinal ingredients, namely immortal plants, spirit blood, devil fruit, and snow bone ginseng. The guard said all you want are very rare medicinal ingredients. The guard said maybe there are 2 that we don't have, but today there is exactly one that wants to be protected. Then Xiao Yan's group followed the guard. It was seen from several corners that many people wanted to buy the same item but were full of arguments. It turned out that Xiao Yan was met by the merchant, but he looked annoyed because the people in his area just looked without buying. The guard told Xiao that Lao Yan was really stingy and not good, but he had a very unreasonable item. Then the guard told Lao Yan to take out his snow bone plant for Xiao to see. Lao Yan asked if you want to buy it. If yes, you must bring 1 level 7 medicine pill to exchange. Xiao Yan replied that although the snow bone was valuable, but at most it could only produce level 7 medicine pills and it had to be mixed with other rare medicinal materials. You only have 1 snow bone plant, but asking for that price, it seems a bit excessive. Lao Yan was surprised that the young man was quite understanding. Lao Yan said that he only needed level 7 medicines and there was only 1 snow bone plant. That he is very stingy and angry. Told Xiao to leave if he can't admit it. Suddenly Xiao took out a white heart pill that can help alchemists break through the limit, and everyone was shocked. Lao Yan thought it was a good level 7. Of course Xiao Yan can correct it, but your price is too much. Suddenly Lao stopped Xiao's steps to exchange the pill with a snow bone ginseng. But Xiao also only needs 10,000 pots of green spirit vines, immortal blood fruit, and that ginseng. And asked if you can give me something valuable? If not, I will leave. Then Lao Yan, I only have ginseng and other things, you can see it and exchange the pill. Xiao was also interested in the ancient-looking copper pieces, so he immediately wrapped them up too. After wrapping them, Lao Yan told that he wanted the level 7 pill medicine for his son who had been trapped for years and could not pass the limit, which made his spirit decline, making him heartbroken. Hopefully this white heart pill will give him great hope. Suddenly Xiao remembered his teacher who had given him the pill that he had bought from the air might auction. Then Xiao gave all the pills to his son to get excited again. Lao Yan was very grateful. Suddenly a shield slid in front of Lao. Turned out to be Chen Xian from the Xianming sect, who was interested in the copper pieces. The debate between Chen and Xiao began, but Xiao would not give his goods because he had already bought them first. Chen Xian, who did not know the group information from Xiao Yan, and wanted to ask, but Xiao ignored him and immediately left him. But Chen's group blocked him. Xiao Yan said, don't bother me, otherwise you won't get out of this pill area alive. Xiao Yan and the Yi family left him and didn't want to argue, but Chen, who was still curious about Xiao Yan's background, this was really the first time in years that Chen had been humiliated, he was very interested. On the way home, Xiao Yan asked if Elder Yi Zhong was worried about those people. Elder Zhong said the strength of the Xianming sect was not weak. Then look at the bodyguard beside the man in white, his position must not be low. I'm afraid this matter is not okay. Xiao said, don't worry about it, what he has I will be it. Finally met Xn Lin, who had found the spirit blood fruit and gave it to Xiao, and it was very good, then put it in his ring. So the only ingredient for the level 7 pill was the immortal blue vine. They all arrived at the courtyard of one of the Y family's assets, but it looked abandoned because since the Y family fell no one took care of it, which made everyone laugh at him. Xiao said that the holy pill city was very valuable, which had a quiet place to rest was very good. Elder Zhong said tomorrow is the test for the 5 big families, so everyone should rest early. Xiao opened the copper city and asked, are you sure this copper piece is an ancient item? Dozo said, although your strength is quite good but your experience is not good enough. Then Dozo took the copper and told him that the real secret is not in this copper piece but in the rust of this copper. Try burning it with the fire core. Xiao burned it and waited for the results, but it turned out to be a jade spirit powder. that this jade spirit powder was famous in ancient times, which turned out to be an ingredient needed to concoct level 8 pills and above, and if mixed into the spirit it would be able to provide nutrition to the spirit, increase spiritual energy in the spirit so that it can be called a true spirit. But it is a pity that the ancient spirit training method has long been forgotten, otherwise these two things complement each other, the effect will be better. It seems they can only wait until their teacher is saved to ask him. Dozo left him and told him to observe it. Suddenly one of the grains flew high and entered Xiao Yan's forehead. Xiao Yan felt dizzy and suddenly entered a dimension, maybe it is called spirituality? Xiao, who was confused, but someone big explained that it was the peak of the soul, guarding the sacred sky, absorbing spirits and forging souls. Stopping by made Xiao Yan understand and sit down to absorb all the energy. Those positive energies made the Y family's courtyard come back to life. Xiao Yan who flew high into the sky and saw 3,000 flames. Suddenly there was a big spirit who could destroy his soul with just one sentence. It turned out that the star area of Pill City was the place of 3,000 flames. Then Xiao Yan had to hurry to become stronger, otherwise there would be no chance. In a star hall they were surprised that someone was peeking at their area, fortunately not waking up 3,000 flames, otherwise it would be troublesome. They were very curious who that person was. But the strength of that person's soul was quite good. I'm afraid it had entered the soul limit. Is it from the soul hall? They were very curious who that person was. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share. Wait for the next episode.